The other thing is it is delusional to think that somebody is going to change who continues to be wicked and who continues to deceive and that's the reason what I mean, if I touch a burner that's been turned on, I'm gonna get burnt. I mean, I don't need to sit there and keep reaching up and touching a hot burner. And what it is the ones that have done me wrong, knowingly that they did wrong. They know it, but they also know that there's nothing I can do about it, and they also know that they want to try to provoke me into being violent, and what I'm getting at is that violence is not a way to solve a problem. And the same ones do things like promoting beating with a belt and that kind of crap. And it's like, but basically, think about the ones that are involved in spanking and think about the sexual fetishes dealing with spanking. I mean, it's like I'm not into that crap. But anyhow, I mean, I'm just disgusted. I'm beyond disgusted. But also I'm very realistic and going. It's just like when I laughed at somebody who was telling me to go out and get a gun and go attack them. I started laughing at her. I was like, who are you kidding? I mean, how absurd is that for me to go out basically with a pea shooter and a spitball and go up against army tanks? But once again, that was another example of sitting there and telling me to do something. And it's like, if that's such a good idea, then why don't you do it first? Same thing with, what's that son of a bitch's name? Jim Jones. He didn't sit there and disclose to the people that he had isolated that he was going to take them to where there were gorilla pits and stuff, that he would force them to get into gorilla pits. He never sat there and demonstrated how the gorilla pits were being used. I mean, I don't remember sitting there and looking at, oh, my name is Jim Jones. I'm going to climb into the gorilla pit and show you how a gorilla pit is being used. No, and that's just it. But getting back to stuff, what is it that Jesus said? Woe unto ye hypocrites. And as I talk about that, it's just like, look at look at what Jesus was against. I mean, it's just like a continuation of the hypocrites that were there during Jesus' time. Woe unto you, workers of iniquity. I mean, what else would you call a friggin' CEO? I mean, I was walking, I went somewhere and, there were people that were getting ready to, do some work on some electrical cables, and I'm like, what a crock of shit. There's probably some damn CEO or board member sitting on his yacht lying about working, and yet that son of a bitch is nothing but a hypocrite. And it's just like, oh, if somebody sits there and gets hurt, what is he gonna do? It's just like, oh, I mean, basically the thing is they know that they're using people like disposable watches. I mean, it's just like, there's a reason why I hate what's going on. It's just like, it pisses me off. It's like if I was a store manager, what would I do? I wouldn't sit there and be acting stupid about crap, and I'd kind of like perform some miracles. I would sit there and make sure that there were lots of preloaded debit cards and stuff, and in different bags as far as stuff goes. I wouldn't sit there and act stupid about people that are coming in with hardly a pot to piss in after they've been conned and stuff. I mean, I just sit there and look at the stuff, and the ones that are sitting behind the counter just sitting there and acting stupid. I mean, it's just like, I got holes in my jeans. And I just look at the shit that goes on. It's just like, I mean, who would imagine somebody just sitting there and acting stupid? It's just like one that sits there and acts stupid. I mean, I just say this shit. It's just like, damn, must be nice for them to sit there with their pearly white teeth, and I got a tooth that's broken, and my teeth haven't been cleaned in years. I mean, I just look, it's just like, I mean, oh, but it's just like, it pisses them off when I just want to say, fuck you. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but it's just like, I look at the crap. I mean, it's just like, what's it like to sit there and basically fuck me over and fuck me out of? You sit there with your damn smirks on your fucking faces. That's the reason why I want to look at some of them. It's just like, just the shit that they pull, and basically the deceptions and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's pretty fucking pathetic when basically I don't give a fuck when anybody in my family does. I know that might sound bad to sit there and just like, I don't give a fuck. The reason why I don't give a fuck is basically they're deceptive as shit. They're arrogant as shit. They're assholes. And basically what it is they have evidently been meeting behind the scenes with a bunch of the other ones that sat there and basically have been retaliating against me. It's just like, basically, it's just like that they chose to do wicked. And they know that I know it. They know that basically I've busted them in a bunch of lies where they even intentionally withheld information from me, and they've been fucking with me, like fucking with my mind by gaslighting me, by minimizing minimizing what I've talked about, and they've sided with the ones who have tried to murder me by breaking my neck. They've sided with the one who ended up drugging and raping me and that kind of shit. So basically, it's like, I mean, it's like I don't want them as my family members. And I know that might sound bad, but it's just like I don't give a fuck about them. I don't give a fuck about them. Same thing with the ones that sat there and acted stupid, didn't disclose to me that they're still stockbrokers or what they were actually up to. I'm just like, fuck off. Basically, they don't deserve to be my friend. And I know that sounds bad, but when I look at the shit that they do and who they fuck over and who they fuck out of what they've worked for, it's like, But basically, and that's the reason why I like what this guy that I've never even sat down and had coffee with or talked to one on one and talks about it and stuff. It's just like the thing is basically uh, it's like the day that they fear. Basically, they know that they're going to be cast into the lake of fire. They know it. They know it, and that's the reason why they are the ones who are delusional. They are the ones that are full of shit. Basically, the day that they chose to do wicked was the day that they chose the lake of fire. The day that they chose to keep doing wicked and doing wicked and doing wicked and doing wicked and had no remorse for what they were doing. And when it was all about them and they didn't give a shit about anybody else. And when they kept retaliating against who was trying to, that's what I'm getting at. It's just like there's a time just to walk away. There really is. Just time to walk away. And when it is, as they many times end up, but because somebody's blood getting to them, it's like that's when they really feel entitled to basically F people out of and F people over. And that's what I'm saying, is it's just like, and that's what's wild, is it's kind of like them sitting there and picking out who they want to be as a scapegoat, as their sacrificial lamb. And then just the wickedness. What it is one of the evil bitches who's also a witch ended up sending me something dealing with what is it called, a leg of lamb and stuff. But sitting there and doing stuff like having somebody with their fingers done in with the Diablo hand sign and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like, basically, she's a wicked bitch. She's the same one that got me in the car with her and then pulled out a gun at me and acted stupid about him pulling a gun out of me. And then another one sitting there and basically minimizing what she did. And I'm like, cut it out. I said, stop minimizing somebody pulling a gun out of me. But see, and I've already busted him a gazillion times over on his bullshit, and he knows it. I mean, like I say, and another one sitting there and basically, agree with adversary quickly and the bullshit. That basically Satan knows how to sit there and manipulate shit. And that's what they do. And what they've done is the it starts out with the Bible verse of all who come before me are robbers and thieves. They already know that they've been ganging up on me and put me down. They just, I mean, basically, there's no sense in me shedding a tear for any of them when they physically die. Am I gonna sit there and speed up the process of them dying? No. And I think that deals with basically knowing who's actually in control. And that's where they're basically choosing to deceive themselves. But that also deals with the fact that they are that they don't have the Holy Spirit in them. And that's what's disgusting, is that they pretend that basically, I mean, some of them have had different positions in different churches and all that kind of shit. And it's just like, oh crap. But it also gets back to Isaiah 14:14. I will be like the Most High. I mean, I look at one of them and I just, very deceptive. That's part of it. I mean, when I look at the shit that they've done, I mean, imagine somebody sitting there and basically having me go on a date with them and not disclosing to me that his father's a stockbroker, and acting stupid about what he was doing. I mean, basically, I mean, he's just like, why should I give a damn when some son of a self-serving son of a bitch like that is physically dead? I know that might sound bad, but that's all he did. In fact, the woman that he got married to the first time he got married was a very nice woman. And that's what they tend to do, is they end up, they basically use people like people are disposable. Kind of like drinking a drink out of a container and then throwing the container away. That to me is just like a very, I mean, it's gross, and I'm gonna say something as far as men goes. Don't sit there and be thinking with your wrong brain. I know that might sound gross for me to say, but when I think and some of the conniving bitches that are out there and the shit that they do, it's just like, men also know how to seduce women. But what I'm getting at is, go back to the Garden of Eden and look at it. It began with seduction, but men in particular, it's like, when I think back on, I mean, somebody wanted me to set him up with a woman. I said, I don't know of any woman that's single that I would set any man up with. I mean, isn't that pathetic that I would sit there and go, But basically, I wouldn't set my worst enemy up with some of the ones that I know who are single. Isn't that awful? To me, that would be the equivalent of going, here, go play with a sexually transmitted disease, or go play with some nitro and glycerin. I mean, I mean, or go drink some arsenic. I mean, when I or go play in it with a in a den of vipers, or go play with a pack of wolves, or what I'm getting at is when I look at the stuff, how they absolutely have no regard for anybody else, how they always have to be the center of the stage, and I mean everything has to be about them. It's disgusting. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just like, and for them to sit there and laugh about being cold-hearted and being bitches and being dirty bastards and that kind of shit, it's just kind of like, that's not my idea of funny or humorous. I mean, it's just like, I'll look at one of them, and I mean, he used to wear a bunch of watches on his arm, and it just like, it dawned on me, it's like, but basically they were cheap watches, they were disposable, and it's like, he would always have another watch to pull out to know what time it was, if that makes sense. And I just, when I think about the shit he did, and I look back and he was another smirker, and that's just it. Even in his eyes, that basically it's like eye reading, if that makes sense. There's something called iridology, and that deals with like reading the irises. But what I'm getting at is just looking at the dark soulless eyes, or just even looking at how the eyes smirk. I mean, but that's part of the reason why they end up wearing like the lipstick and stuff. It's a distraction to get people off of looking at their eyes to see what they're actually working with. And I mean, it's just, man, I think back at one of them, and it's just like, what a cold-hearted bitch. But it's like, dang, look at her mom, look at her father, look at who she got married to. It's like, and also the crocodile tears. I mean, if that doesn't make somebody cringe, I don't know what will. It's just like, just no, nothing genuine about them. I mean, I'm talking about nothing. Just absolute fakes and frauds.